to our pre-match show, India facing West Indies today. Before I start deep diving into the game, India won against Pakistan. Happy with the victory, Jayada first.
I'm happy with the victory, but I'm not happy with the brand of cricket India played. I think a lot of things that need to get better. It was a pressure game, first game, arch rivals. I can understand all that. And no matter how much you play together, you go to a World Cup, you go to a different country, the conditions, everything changes. You want to get across that first game. And it was a tough one. So from that point of view, I'm happy. But I thought, especially with the ball and on the field, a lot of questions left, even some with the bat.
I agree. We've made that point on our show that had Richard Ghosh gotten out to that LBW appeal, which that little snick, India could have been in trouble. Because if you see, the asking rate had gone up to 10, and those three boundaries of aim and Anwar actually allowed the game to come to our side. Between 5.6 and 11.6, no boundaries, and thereafter Pakistan exploded. You actually gave Pakistan far too many runs, as Joydeep just alluded to. So yes, absolutely spot on. If you remember, I said it was a 60% game. And against Australia, you need a 120% game, not simply a 100% game. So there's a huge mountain to climb still.
Well, if we have to start talking about today's match, we have to first welcome the man on site, Shubhan Chakrabarti from Captain. Shubhan, can you hear me? I think you can. Have you reached have you reached on top of the table? What table?
Table Mountain.
Table Mountain.
He will.
Table Mountain, it's just behind me, but the weather for the last couple of days hasn't been that great. It's all packed up with the tablecloth, the famous cloud over the mountain. So unfortunately, I haven't. I was planning to go, but I couldn't. So maybe if the weather clears out, then hopefully I'll go.
It is the Table Mountain's loss, and some point Table Mountain will be.
Well, talking about losses, Westindies, they lost their 13th consecutive T20I. Do you think it's really a matchup, or it's a case of India probably playing worse and only then can they lose the match?
No, I think the shorter the game, the more the chance of upset. If this was a 50-over game, I'd say India firmly favourites. They're favourites now as well. But the longer the game, the more chances of the comeback. In a T20 game, you have a bad half an hour, you have a bad 20 minutes with bat or ball, it could be over. And they have that explosivity. What they don't have is the consistency. And you never know, if they have a good 20 minutes, we have a bad 20 minutes, they could hurt us.
Shubhan, what is the atmosphere there other than your clouds and all? The crowd atmosphere.
I think it's overwhelming because it's a weekday working day. It's an afternoon match, so it's a practical thing to have. The students have gone to their schools and colleges. The elderly people, they are working. So I don't think we'll see much crowd here. But the weather is good. It's a bit windy. It's a bit chilly. So we'll get to see a good game of cricket. It's not too sunny, not too hot. So a game of cricket, but yes, crowd-wise, it's a bit underwhelming because you always expect crowd when India are playing. So a bit underwhelming in my opinion.
Boria, the West Indies have won the toss and elected to bat first with their batting lineup. Happy with the choice?
Yeah, good call. I mean, again, the usual drill, trying to use their slowish bowlers, trying to upset India. Not the best, batting performance from India so far. Again, I insist, Richa Ghosh is your key because she is your only power hitter. The Jemimas of the world, Jemima was very good against Pakistan, but that power explosive hitting is not there unless Harmanpreet Kaur fires. Harmanpreet Kaur and Richa Ghosh. And Harmanpreet Kaur hasn't fired in the last 3, 4, 5 months. When Joydeep was doing commentary from that particular series, if you see. So Smriti Mandhana at the top, Shafali Verma, yes, and then Richa Ghosh. That is the kind of batting firepower. So any team would want to put India under pressure. Maybe for India, you would want your top order to fire not 15, not 17 from Yastika and then getting out. She has the talent, potential. Time to now make merry and get big scores.
Just to add to that, I also want one of my openers to bat for 14 overs. That happens a lot in men's cricket. For some reason, our women Indian team doesn't do that. Even if Smriti Mandhana plays, she'll be a blinder of 23 ball, 40 and get out. But she's not there to the 14th, 15th over. Because then, both our openers are explosive. Whoever bats with them, job is done.
Absolutely. A few changes to the Indian team. Smriti Mandhana is back. And since Smriti is back, no surprises that Yastika sits out. Devika Vaidya is in place of Harleen Dewal. Well, Joydipta, Harleen didn't get to do much last match, and you drop her and bring in Devika. Does that play in a? I mean, does the demotivate a player?
It sometimes could be strategic, how you play against a particular bowlers, unless you know the reason behind it. Just I know players getting dropped after 5 wickets or 100 also. In fact, I know this is a little off the cuff, but Pradipta Pramanik is not about to play the final after getting a 50 and 5 wickets in the last semi-finals of the Ranji Trophy. So that can happen as long as it is. There's a lot of communication. You exactly know what's going on. I think I'm good with it. See, for me, it's the Indian team what they need. And it's not because you didn't bat in the last game, you need to play this game. Maybe she's good against spinners, maybe she's good against some type of bowling which Westindies offers you. There's some technical side to this.
Shubham, the pitch at Cape Town has initially favored bowlers, and then it becomes a
Mhm.
batting wicket. So, and India
Mhm.
have been pretty poor at the death. So, you think West Indies have made the right call?
Oh, absolutely. As Joyda and Boriada had mentioned that it was not a perfect game from India against Pakistan. So there's still some areas that need brush up. A good brush up in the middle order, a good brush up in the bowling wise, because we saw a couple of bowlers that were expensive. So you can't afford that either. Whether it's Ollie Matthews or Stephanie Taylor. So you need to be very precise where you are bowling. And going forward, when you face the likes of England and Australia, you need to be spot on in every department, be it batting, middle order, death over batting, death over bowling. So you need to be spot on there. So I think there's still a scope of improvement in this Indian team, and I think against West Indies, this should be a start. Smriti Mandhana getting back as we predicted in our preview that she will be back in the batting order on Sunday. So it's a positive, but I don't think Smriti Mandhana is still at 100% fit because she was fielding very gingerly. She was saving her finger today morning at the ground inside. So she was saving her finger from while during the field. It remains to be seen how she goes after those big shots, whether she plays her shots full fledgedly or not.
Exactly. This was something that I wanted to ask both of you. That Smriti had an injury in the left arm middle finger, right? That's your bottom hand for a left-hander. How much does that restrict you, even though you're back? But as he said, she will have that in her mind.
More so with the front foot shots because the bottom hand also come with the back foot shots. But front foot shots is where the bottom hand sort of supports. So that's where the middle finger comes in. When you play the cut and the pull, it's the full palm that comes in, as we know. So I think with the front foot shots, so they might bowl to her a little bit fuller, knowing that that's a problem for her. But since she's playing, I'm thinking that she's more or less okay to play because it's a long tournament and they wouldn't want to really risk her at the risk of losing her for the next game. Can't play the next. It's not in that stage. And also, I think we'll see her field at fine leg and third man where the hard shots won't come so much.
Boriada, I wanted to ask you about the mental aspect. You're coming back from an injury, and even before the injury, she wasn't really hitting it well. So, how much does that affect someone like Smriti? And by the way, she has gone in the auction for 3.4 crores. That pressure is also there, probably.
She's too good a player. Let's put it that way. She's too good a player. I mean, if I sort of she's by far the best player in this team. Okay, I mean all said and done. While I say Harmanpreet Kaur is the captain and all of that, but Smriti Mandhana at this point in time is miles and
It's a game of four.
There's no question. So for somebody of her quality and ability, I don't think it will impact her much. But then again, she's human. I mean, if there is still pain, if she's not 100%, can well be that she's not 100%, then it might just play on her mind. But
And also just on that, she might want to play a few games before the big games come.
possibly.
You don't go straight away going for Australia with no form, with no flow, with no runs behind you, no matter how good you are. You want to play. You know how to protect yourself.
And frankly, if you then fail against Australia, then your team will lose.
Yeah.
Because in Smriti's heart of hearts, she knows that this team is dependent. Even the team knows that this team is dependent on her. If I think we lost Shubhan's internet connection, otherwise I would have asked Shubhan because he was tweeting these photographs from the venue that Smriti Mandhana was first into the nets and batting.
Right.
I wanted to know from him, was she in flow? Did she look good at the nets? These are important questions. I think he's coming back.
He's on his way back.
Yeah, if he's back.
Yes,
Shubhan,
yes.
if you can hear us, You tweeted saying Smriti Mandhana batted at the nets at the very start when India reached the ground. Can you give us a little bit more? How did she look? What was
Yes.
she, her drills, etc.? If your internet is okay.
Yes, yes. Am I audible? The jammer
Yes,
is
you
pretty
are.
strong. So yes, yes. Yes. Yesterday Smriti was the one batting at net first. She made as yes, but she was the one using the probably she was a very cautious about a short stroke play, and today also she was the first who came out with her pads up and batted and took a few throwdowns and then went to the fielding drills. But again, during the fielding drills, what I spotted about Smriti was she was saving her left hand. She was more right hand predominant during the catches or the fielding saves. So I think, as I said, I don't think Smriti is 100% at a batting or fitness wise. Her finger is still a bit ginger, maybe 90 to 95% around. But as she plays, as Joydeep also mentioned that hadn't if Smriti wasn't fully fit, then Indian team management wouldn't have taken the risk. Roy getting the bat down in the at big squad, and you mentioned one of
It's okay.
the
Yeah, thank you, Shubhan.
In the
about
middle of a
that.
tournament, you're never 100% fit. You'll always have some niggle or the other. In the mid-season, I would always have my fingers sore or some hammy sore or something because you're playing constantly. What is important is she feels that I need to play. And that is a signal that clearly says that she is fit for me. Simple as that.
Priyanka, you mentioned Harman. Harman made a century in the T20 2018 World Cup. And after that, her figures are 10 innings, only 126 runs with an average of 14 and strike rate of 107. And she has hit only 6 sixes in the World Cup.
No, I mean, I've been saying this for
Just a second, I'll add one more question to it. Sorry to interrupt. But in the WPL auction, I have mentioned in my auction review that she went for 1.8 crores, probably not what she or even us we expected. Will that also have a toll? Does that have a toll?
She's human. I mean, anybody, look, I mean, Smriti Mandhana went for 3.4 crores, I can take that. But there are 6 other players, if I remember, who went for more money compared to Harman. Will that, let's put it this way, the timing of the auction wasn't great. India is in the middle of a World Cup. 2 days later, there is a game. You are allowing speculation to continue by holding an auction then. Yes, you will say when was the time, because if you have to start the tournament on 4th of March, when can you fit in an auction? But if you actually analyze, you are playing a game within 24 hours, you are playing a game the previous night. So this was sandwiched between 2 India games.
With the time
Not the best. Not the best. I mean, Harman is human. If you think that, okay, 1.8 crores, she's smiling, hugging and all that, can it not impact her mind? Of course it can. 3.4 crores to Smriti, 2.6 crores to Deepti. Even Richa gets more money than Harman. She's one of India's biggest brands. What is the message? That she's absolutely not India's biggest female cricketing brand. And that's the message.
And for me, this could be the biggest wake-up call that Harmanpreet Kaur needed.
Correct. Then it can be
If
both.
this doesn't wake her up, nothing will.
Nothing.
And that augurs well for Indian cricket. I think this suddenly you're always known as this enigma, and these are numbers. These are figures.
Let's be clear, Trisha. The market speaks louder than anyone.
Absolutely.
This is
Well,
the market talking. And no stooge, no backer, nobody. This is pure numbers. This is a business. The business tells you Harmanpreet Kaur is not in the top 6 brands. As Joydeep said, get going, prove to the world the market was wrong.
That's what I have a feeling.
That's
will
it.
happen.
If
Because this doesn't wake you up, nothing will. And it's not the Harman is not trying. It's that.
Absolutely.
I mean, as a captain, as a player, they all are. But you go to your coach, you go to your mentor, you go to people, they'll tell you the reasons. We've done this with players in Bengal and KKR. We'll tell you the reason why. You cannot lose your technique, you can't lose your game overnight. What are you losing? Where are you lagging behind? Is it a shot selection? Is what it is? And I sometimes, when I see Harman play, I feel she can get on any ball. So, when I see the best T20 players playing, talk about ABD or whoever, Virat at his best, there's a planning to it. Even Surya now, there's a planning to it. First ball inside out over covers, next ball single, then the sweep is coming, the square leg is in front. With Harman, I feel, just hit it and parade goes out of the ground.
Shubhayan, you were there at the practice at the press conference. Harmanpreet Kaur did not come to practice. Was it injury? What was the reason? Any thoughts on that? Any updates on on that issue?
I did ask Troy Cooley during the press conference yesterday what was the reason behind Harman not showing up at the training, and he had a very diplomatic answer that Harman has her own training schedule. She knows her game well, and you won't see Harman come up in the training before the match day, on the eve of the match day. So that was a very diplomatic answer. But yes,
So if
but
that's
yes, I
happened,
did.
if
Hold on
that's
a second.
happened,
But
if that's the way she goes all her life, I can understand. I play with some players who would not go to the ground the day before the match. Owen Morgan wouldn't.
yeah.
Just a name. But I'm just saying, if that's the way it's always been, then it's fine.
But just a second, Shubhayan, I clearly remember that she was there before the Pakistan match.
I was about to say.
Exactly. That what I was going to mention. I don't think that has always been the routine, but what I feel the real reason behind this, Harman not showing up for the training, is I think she's still a bit cautious, a bit precautionary about her shoulder, and that is why I don't think she's training full tilt. Same with Smriti Mandhana, she's not training full tilt. So there are they are not 100% is what I feel during this T20 World Cup, and maybe after a couple of games they will pick up their fitness, they will show up for the training more, and I think this will clear up. These are not major injuries because they are playing the matches. So but I still feel it is just my hunch that they are not at 100% by the way they are moving around or throwing the ball or catching the ball.
I also think she did not turn up because in her mind she's not comfortable enough with so many media asking her that question.
That I think is-
1.8.
Yeah.
There is so much of-
And she hasn't addressed a single press conference in this World Cup.
Exactly. Because if today this question, if Shuman, for example, it is his job to ask her that question.
Absolutely.
Right? It's
Yep.
the job of the media. Now that's why I say this. If she gets a 50 today, job done.
She-
She'll come
absolutely,
tomorrow.
absolutely.
So Joydeep is absolutely right when he says this. That it is kind of the tipping point for Harmanpreet Kaur. Go up, or you are actually sort of calling into.
But Boryada, when he spoke about the injury, there was a Team India video which was circulating where they were watching the auction together. If you guys noticed, when Harman's auction was going on, of course the camera was on Harman. Harman's right hand was on her left shoulder. So maybe she's not fully comfortable as well.
And also the fact that, why do we send the people who succeed for the PC? Indian cricket team, men's team, it's always the guy who's got runs, got wickets, goes for the PC. When there's a loss, the captain comes and the coach comes. So here also, it's a day that it's not been the brightest day in Harman's life. Stay away. Let the bat do the talking.
Because see, one point is pretty much clear. At this point in time, it's about an aging star giving way to another star. And passing of the baton is never easy, whoever you are.
Absolutely.
Right. In this case, Smriti Mandhana is now Indian cricket's poster girl. Let's face it, the market has just told us that Richa Ghosh is a future poster girl.
Absolutely.
Even Deepti Sharma, who was being knocked around in the last World Cup, doesn't find a place, this, that, New Zealand. Look at
2.6
Deepti Sharma,
crores.
2.6 crores. So all of a sudden,
And also all-rounders, as we said.
all-rounders.
Absolutely.
And that's another point you made. Harmanpreet Kaur is not bowling enough. So all of a sudden, Harmanpreet Kaur finds herself in this tricky position that I was the big boss, I was the top dog, and all of a sudden, am I the top dog? Michael Clarke, 2015. He was the captain of Australia, but everybody was asking the question, does Michael Clarke deserve to be the top dog? And what happened? The day before the final, he announced his retirement. And the headline was, Pop retires as top dog. Right? And I know Michael very well. I was with him when he announced it. So Harmanpreet Kaur will have to sort of come to terms with this in her mind. And as Joydeep said, deliver a match-winning knock.
Yeah, sometimes you need this in your career. You play for a long time. I love the way the ball comes out of her hand. She needs to fix that shoulder. I mean, people are coming for a reconstruction of shoulders and coming in bowling. Balaji has had 3 stress fractures on his back. I mean, couldn't be anything that. I think it's just a question of this will wake her up. This is what India, I think the best of Harman is about to come. I think she's a game-changing player. This will wake her up. The focus, it's not about the game.
Absolutely. From India, let's focus a little on Westindies. Stephanie Taylor, another giant player in T20 eyes. Coming back from injury, again back to you, Shubhayan. You have seen her practicing. Do you think she has recovered fully? Because when she's batting, it doesn't seem so.
Stephanie Taylor, Trisha, you would know better. She has not been at the best of her form for quite a few last few 6 8 months. Say she had an injury, but even in the first match of West Indies, she looked very like odd, very ordinary, I would say, with the bat. But Haley Matthews, Stephanie Taylor, Deandra Dotting, although she is not playing now for West Indies, but these are the Herculean of West Indies batting lineup, and when they click, we know what they can do with the bat. So these are dangerous customer with the bat. But from the West Indies point of view, a couple of players I'm looking forward. It's from the bowling unit. One is Affy Fletcher, the leg spinner. She has been really good, and one is Karishma Ramarak. If they can produce some good overs, 8 overs among between themselves, then I think they can really hold their head high. But apart from that, I still feel India are a far much better side, and their recent record against West Indies show that dominance, why they are a better side. But yes, as you said, Stephanie Taylor, Haley Matthews, these are the two players from the West Indies lineup who are the game changers, who are the real big game changers, and India have to be really pinpoint with their strategies around them.
Shubhayan, why don't you take a little drinks break? Oh, you don't have your thumbs up. Sorry, we'll take it on his behalf.
She's
Where
she's
says in
sledging
India,
the
winning
WPL
India
auction.
Pakistan game, you'll be in India t-shirt. Where is the t-shirt?
I'm
Correct.
I'm wearing blue. I don't want to jinx. I don't want to jinx. I don't want to jinx. I will wear. I will wear
It's
India.
getting done.
India.
You have your way with words, so we'll let you go.
Joydipta, I have a tactic. Whenever Australia and England will play, I'll buy a couple of jerseys from Australia and England, and I'll start wearing them on match days. Their match
And
days.
wear them together. Wear them together. Get them both out. Clear the road.
That's the plan. That's the plan. That's why Boryada has sent me. That's the plan. Secret plan.
Oh,
Well, getting back, Boryada, West Indies has a good pacer in Shamilia Connell. She has got her 75.7% wickets in the power play, and Shafali has shown a little bit of a.
yeah, and if you see Shamia Connell for a long time, I mean, those two, Shakira Selman and Shamia Connell, have been bowling for the West Indies for a long time, and now you will also see Chanel Henry. And the other day, that extraordinary reflex catch that Henry took. I mean, all of a sudden it was like here, and she caught it here, right? So it was an extraordinarily good-looking catch. So Connell, with her height, she will bounce Shafali Verma, which I don't think the Pakistanis tried.
Correct.
So the moment you get that, and if you see Shafali, she will play this shot. England gets her out that way.
You need the pace also for it, yeah.
Exactly.
You need the
Megan
pace.
should get Shafali Verma out there. Either shot third or somewhere around middle, and you will see Shafali Verma falling into that trap. Hopefully that will happen.
With the short ball play, makes a great point. There are two ways. One is your ego, that you are going to be, taking it on, hitting your fours and sixes. One is, if you say Surya play, he doesn't always take it on. But I remember Robin Uttappa 1 year got to the short ball 9 times in 14 games. Because he had that ego that I want to show the world I can play the short ball. Took it on and got out. Whereas Surya will just lap it, he just tap it down, hit it over point. A short ball doesn't mean 4 over mid wicket. It can be 4 over point also. It can be 4 over third man also.
True.
So that's how smart you are. Pace is what they have, and Indian team are not used to playing pace domestic. Except Jhulan, there's no fast bowler, and Jhulan is gone. So there's no 75, 78 bowler who will bounce you. That is the reason why I think everybody comes, and Shefali also has to learn to leave the bouncer because there's only one per over. So if you leave that one, you play the other way. You take it on big grounds. It's only a matter of time before you perish.
Absolutely. Boryada, did you just see what I did?
Yeah, I mean, some catching practice is going on inside the studio.
You know why? Because India has been missing catches.
So she's getting the game used to. And from here to Shubhaya, take the thumbs up.
I'm activating our team when it comes to fielding. What about Indian fielding? I think last match, some brilliance from Radha, and then Radha only drops an easy catch.
Yeah, Shubhaya, that was the other question. Have you seen any specialized fielding drills? You spoke to Troy Cooley yesterday. Radha Yadav, your best fielder, dropped the sitter, and then we know what happened to Aisha and Bisma. Your thoughts on that?
Yesterday, Boryada, the main focus was on the fielding. When Smriti was batting at the net, the entire team was doing their fielding drills. And even today, there was a specialized slip catching for all the girls there, and even one-handed catching drills that was going on before the match. So the main emphasis now has turned into fielding. Yes, other batters are batting at the nets also, but the main emphasis is on the fielding. I had asked Jemima also during the press conference after the Pakistan game, and she precisely said that fielding is an area that we want to improve as a team, and we want to become one of the better fielding sides in this T20 World Cup. So I think the focus, even the Indian team management knows that even if you have to beat Australia or England, they are the two benchmarks I'm talking about, repeatedly mentioning them because they are the pinnacle of women's cricket. And if you have to beat them, you have to save each and every single run against them. And there's no way poor fielding without good fielding you can beat either England or Australia with the kind of cricket they are playing.
Just before we close the show, one last question. India is bowling first, and the last three matches, 3-4 matches, if you see, we get wickets in the power play, we get wickets initially, 4 down, 5 down, in the end overs, all over the place.
Yeah, on the fielding, Shubhadeep, who played for Assam Ranji Trophy, is the fielding coach.
Right.
And I was there when I saw India Australia play the 5 matches. I saw him give fielding practice. And one thing I was telling him is that you are not hitting it at the pace at which the Australians hit it. So you're hitting it. When you want to take some catches, you want to get used to the pace at which it's going to come, not lower. You know, Virat Kohli in the nets asks Raghu to throw at 95 because he wants to be at 90. He wants 90 to look slow. But if I go and face 80, 90 is too quick for me. Always make your practice tougher than your match. So somewhere along the line, at the pace at which the England players in it, the Aussies in it, that's the pace at which it, and Shubhadeep can do it. You see, he can rev it up. He's been under 19. He's with the India A men's team. But once it's the women who have to say yes, hit it at the pace. Meg Lanning hits it or any spirit hit it because that's the pace I want. Yeah, on your question, yeah, I think so. I think India. See, at the end of the day, this game, I think India will win. There will be Westindies has 3-4 players that can hurt you. Yeah. India probably has 9 or 10. That's why India is ahead.
It's Haley Matthews, Deandra Dottin, Stephanie
Deandra
Taylor.
Dottin has retired.
Yeah, as in from the longest time. If you take West Indies cricket history in bowling, Shamia Connell, Shakira Selman, Anisa Mohammed.
It has been completely that.
That's it.
Yes.
I mean, so if you see this 8, 7, and now 1 or 2 of them have gone. Even Steph Taylor is on her last.
Absolutely.
So let's be clear about it. This is not the Steph Taylor of 5 years back.
Absolutely.
And the gap between these 4 and the other players
is huge.
And these other players, if they come close to these players, then they'll become a team.
So this West Indies, 13 matches. I mean, and this same West Indies a couple of years back was hurting England. If you remember the game, in fact, you remember that Steph Taylor diving catch that shit. So that West Indies and this West Indies, the Deandra Dottin who hit Julan out of the ground. Where is that player anymore? Nobody. So this West Indies hurting India, I don't see that. A 60% India will win. But you don't want the 60% India to turn up.
Absolutely.
Shubhan Chakravarti's India shirt needed to come out today for God's sake.
I know.
Day to wear.
If he loses, what happens?
He doesn't come back.
Oh, he put him up.
South African.
I've done my Pakistan assignment, guys. Don't call me back.
No, tomorrow is a top table mountain.
Tomorrow on top of table mountain.
You can see the behind. The background is the table mountain there.
You are seeing it behind all the time. Well, Shubhan, you also call India victory?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. As Boryada said, it's not the West Indies of the past. India heavy favorites to win this match. 80-20, I would give it to India. But yes, they have to execute their plans around Haley Matthews and Stephanie Taylor with the ball. So yeah.
Well, here all the experts in my show has at least called that India will win, and I hope India does win, because otherwise we'll have sad faces. And we'll have to complain.
And then the Harman talk becomes really loud.
And it will become really big. Anyway, we'll be back with the post show right after the match. Stay with us. Watch the full coverage. Shubhan will be coming with mid-innings update. So keep watching Red Sports. Keep following us.
And before Trisha ends, tomorrow morning, Joydeep Mukherjee, Trisha Ghoshal, Rohan Chaudhary and Devashish Sen at the Eden Gardens for Bengal. Bengal versus Saurashtra Ranji Trophy. You will see Ajay Dev Unadkar talking about a Cheteshwar Pujara in our special on Cheteshwar Pujara's 100th test. We've got Arvind Pujara, Cheteshwar's father. We've got Jaydev Unadkat talking about Cheteshwar. Plenty coming on Rev Sports. So keep watching, download the app, subscribe to the platform.
Thank you.